very much enjoyed my time away at boarding school. Unfortunately, shortly after I left, the school was closed, so I've written this memorial for it. Fifield Boarding School, a short memorial by Patrick Bell. The closure of Fifield Boarding School in the early 1980s represented the premature death of a much-loved establishment, having lived for just 21 years. Many still remember it fondly to this day, so I've written this memorial. As a student from 1974 to 1979, I don't claim to comment on behalf of everyone involved, partly because this is based on my 5 years there, and partly because I know that this unconventional, Essex County Council owned, mixed gender boarding school did not suit everyone who attended. What I can say is that social media has put many of us back in touch again from right across the school's 21-year life, and it is clear that we retain a great deal in common. I could drone on for hours, so to avoid that, I've chosen a couple of short montages that I hope will resonate and provide a sense of the adventure so many of us enjoyed. Of course, we all attended lessons, and some pupils exceeded academically, but for many, classes were little more than a distraction. For us, the school was about the football, cricket, hockey and netball teams, sports days, swimming galas, school records, sporting colours, etc. We were always on the huge school field that doubled as our backyard, practicing keepy uppies in winter and cricket skills in the summer, often using the cradle on those long summer evenings, which was a wooden contraption that looked a little like a clinker-built rowing boat. We would stand in small groups at opposite ends and throw a cricket ball in as hard as we could, causing it to ping out of the other end at great speed and unpredictable angles. Players were awarded a point for catching the ball and 3 for injuring a friend. Apparently cradles are banned now, something to do with health and safety. In the winter months, we'd have lessons in the evenings, then sport in the afternoon daylight, resuming classes from dusk. Genius. As well as the field, we enjoyed flawless grass tennis courts and an indoor swimming pool. In the strike-hit 1970s, when most schools smelt of disinfectant and disappointment, ours was like a holiday camp. The least popular sport was cross-country. Our course looped around half the Roding Valley, and the senior boys version was 7 grueling miles long. Participants regularly became lost, and teachers had to mount rescue missions by car. About 1 mile in, the course followed an irrigation ditch designed to leach excessive rainwater, thickly infused with cows' excrement, off the fields and into the River Roding. It was called Bog Alley, and we would literally, and I mean literally, squelch through this up to our knees in stinking, rancid mud for about 200 metres before it reached the river, where we would turn right, splash along in thigh-deep water for about 50 metres before emerging on the bank opposite. The smell of that bog will never leave me, and nor will I want it to. As well as all the sports, music, performances, dance and film played a big part in school life. We organised dances every Saturday evening using the double deck. Built by the metalwork and woodwork teacher, it looked like a 1970s Urkel sideboard, but it worked like a dream, enabling the DJ to seamlessly blend 7-inch singles together and imagine that they were Bruno Brooks. Dances always ended with a slow masterpiece by Genesis called Ripples, which, eerily here 50 years later, is about growing old. With boys and girls banned from physical contact at all other times, this dance was the one permissible opportunity to awkwardly canoodle in couples, bathed in an intoxicating cloud of Charlie, Wrigley's and lip gloss. What must have been a very early video recorder was used to tape Top of the Pops on Thursday evenings when we were in prep, and then played back to us on Sunday evenings, which we loved. This may explain why, when I left school, I was disappointed to discover that not all women in the real world looked like Olivia Newton-John, Agnetha from ABBA, Kate Bush, or Debbie Harry. We were delivered the gift of film. On Saturdays, between dance weekends, a film show was provided, and there was no holding back on the content. In my first week, aged 11, having recently waved goodbye to the nuns at my convent prep, the school film was Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry. Many films remained banned from public exhibition in those days, but it didn't stop us. We were treated to The War Game, Witchfinder General, The Wicker Man, Midnight Express, Clockwork Orange, Rosemary's Baby, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You name it, we saw it and loved it. We were also regular visitors to the National Film Theatre and other amazing venues, bundling into the school minibus to have our minds broadened by London's globally unparalleled high culture and counterculture laid out on a plate for us as teenagers. There was definitely method in this progressive madness. The films, our plays and performances, and the enthralling books we read in classes captivated us as we explored language ranging from Shakespeare to vodka advertising. I've noticed that the power of words and stories remains common among former pupils and has been carried forward to our children and grandchildren. That alone is a priceless legacy. So we were around 125 teenage boys and 125 teenage girls, bodies bursting into life, neurons giving way to hormones, living in one small rural commune. On summer evenings, we'd congregate on the fabulous field. We boys sought to impress the girls by kicking old, heavy leather footballs as high as we could, and then, carefully tracking their flight path as they re-entered the atmosphere, we positioned ourselves ready to header them. It is little wonder that these days I stumble from room to room, unable to remember what it is that I'm looking for. Sensibly, the girls ignored us. Reclined in relaxed huddles, they swooned over pictures of Brian Ferry and lazily twisted daisies into one another's hair. The credit has to go to the vast majority of the teaching staff who were very encouraging and inspirational to me during those impressionable years, especially as I had lost my father when very young. The leader of these, the headmaster, was called Dick Perry, or more to the point, Sir, in those days, and he set the tone. The passing of the school is wonderfully and concisely captured here in Dick's own words written for the final paragraph in the school's valedictory booklet called Fifield Boarding School, Reflections on a Short Life. In the final analysis, what makes a school? Surely it is the people, the pupils, the staff, the parents, those who manage, those who befriend. Fifield enjoyed a rich heritage in all of these, and 1,200 boys and girls lived to speak of the care and encouragement they received. Their happy and successful lives reflect the purpose and success of the school. Now baby boomers in our 50s, 60s and more, lucky members of a lucky generation, I for one still dream of that time, and certain now that youth really is wasted on the young, I sometimes ache to return. Many who have gone on to build productive lives, successful careers and loving families know without any doubt how much we owe to those 5 short years when we loved and learned so much and laughed until it hurt. We left age only 16, but somehow fully formed and ready for whatever life threw at us. And importantly, this was not the kind of exclusive entitlement associated with a private education. Our confidence is softer. It is much more compassionate, more humble, more inclusive. So, in conclusion, it is no surprise that many ex-pupils have gone on to serve society in professional and voluntary capacities, often with a quiet but steely conviction to stand up against either deprivation or excess or both. Even I felt compelled to help lead the founding of a pioneering school, without any education myself since I left school aged 16. Today, that school educates 700 children each year and is always oversubscribed. So I think it is reasonable to conclude that Fiefield's legacy, values and experience will stretch, alive and kicking, into building brighter futures for many more generations to come. Thank you.